All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to Econ 160, Introductory Microeconomics. I'm your professor, Gabriel Exarlian. Before I get started talking about stuff, for those of you that are not registered for the course, you're either on the wait list or you're not. If you're on the wait list during the first week, I can't do anything for you. The wait list automatically lets people in. After the first week, the wait list goes away, and then it's up to me. But I honor the wait list. And so past the first week, you have to be coming to class every single day and signing in at the end of the class for those that are on the wait list or trying to get in. Everybody else doesn't have to sign in. Don't worry about it. So if you're trying to get into the course, you have to come to class on a regular basis. At the end of each lecture, you have to sign in. And then as slots open up, I will let you in order of the wait list, and then once all those people are off, then I'll start letting people in that weren't on the wait list. But you have to be coming to class on a regular basis. Even if you were on the wait list and then following that week you maybe missed a day or something, then you're disqualified. So you have to be coming to class on a regular basis. So those of you that are trying to get in that are not on the wait list, it's going to be very hard for you to get in. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible for you to get in. I can let people in up until the end of the third week. But it's possible you'll come to class for 3 weeks and then not get into the course. That's possible. It's a risk you have to take if you are interested in getting into this course. So those are the circumstances you're dealing with. If any of you are not interested in going through the process and trying to get in, I would ask that you please leave now so that we can make some room for those that are actually registered and need seats. But anyway, that's the situation. Again, at the end of today, if you are on the wait list or you are trying to get into the course and not on the wait list, you must sign in, and then you must attend class every single day until you do get in, if that is possible. All right, that's all of that. For those of you that don't have seats, maybe you can find a place to sit so you can at least see the screen. And do your best. This will change very soon. Don't worry. There should even be seats available for everybody on Thursday. So, but for now, just do your best, and we will all do our best. All right. So anyway, so today I'm just going to do a general introduction, just like back there or anywhere. Yeah. I'm just going to do a general introduction, talking about who I am, who you are, what the class is, and then I will go through the syllabus in fine detail. And that is all that I will do for today. So I won't actually go into any class material today. I will start that on Thursday. So welcome, everybody. Welcome back to school. We've been off for about 4 or 5 weeks. And even though it's a nice little break, we're still in school ultimately. This is a year-long process, right? But 4 to 5 weeks is enough time to kind of get your mind off of things. Ideally, you did that. Ideally, you did the whole reboot thing, kind of enjoyed your lives outside of school. But now it's time to get back into the school mode. It's time to transition back into that mode where you're invested in what you're doing. You are ready to take on the responsibilities of the semester. I understand that doesn't happen immediately, but I expect it to happen very quickly. So, at the very least, by the beginning of next week, you have got to be on, even though we are going to start covering stuff on Thursday. But get yourself into the game, because as soon as you start falling behind in this class or other classes, it becomes a problem. So you don't want that to happen. You need to be invested right now. You need to be engaged right now. But nonetheless, welcome back. I hope everybody had a good break. And, it was enough to kind of quench your desire for freedom. And now, we're back, and let's get this going, huh? So who am I? I am Gabriel Exarlian. I am your professor. I grew up in the area. I earned my PhD a year and a half ago. I've been teaching here for a year and a half. I actually I started at Pierce. Then I transferred to USC, earned a bachelor's in film. In the program, I decided that I was interested in helping the world, because through the film program, I became aware of economic realities that I wasn't aware of before, because I wanted to be a director. And then once I had become aware of it, I decided, well, maybe I should devote myself to bigger things that might influence the world in more tangible ways. And so I decided I wanted to become an economist. And so I had to take a bunch of math courses. Then I got a master's at USC Then I went up to Santa Cruz, UC Santa Cruz, and earned my PhD. That was like a 7 years of grad school and like 9 years of school really, because I was taking prerequisites and stuff before that. So I was in school a long time. So I know what you're going through. I know what you're going through to like a higher degree than what you're going to be going through in this class. So I can empathize with what you're going through, but it doesn't negate the fact that this class is what it is. It's a technical course with a lot of technical information that's challenging, and it's going to require you, in large part, to put in a lot of time to really get it down, understand it, and do well in the class. So who are you? Who are you? You're just, I don't know, you're just from a bunch of different walks of life, I would say, as far as like your academic paths go. Some of you are just getting into college, trying to figure out, what do I want to do? I'm just taking general ed courses. I don't really have an idea of where I'm going yet, and there's nothing wrong with that. You have time to kind of figure that out. Some of you already know where you're going. You're going into the business program, and this is a prerequisite for that. So you should be taking this class very seriously if that is the case, because this stuff is sort of foundational for a lot of the other stuff you'll be learning as you move forward in your business program, regardless of the emphasis. A lot of this stuff will always be referenced, and there are other courses, upper division courses, that will depend on your understanding of the stuff you learn here. So you should take it seriously. And also, you need at least a C in this course to get into the business program. So keep that in mind, even though your aim should be an A, it shouldn't be a C. But a C minus is considered a failure in the business school for business prerequisites and business curriculum core courses. So keep that in mind. And I don't know, is there anybody like what kind of majors, or like are some of you like in majors that are business but just taking this class as a random elective just to suit a general ed requirement? All right, so none of you have committed to anything. Maybe you've committed to business, or maybe you haven't committed at all, and that's who you are, and that's good. It's an early time in your college career. It's a good time to kind of feel out information, see what works for you, what doesn't. But also, it's a good time for you to like start figuring out how to really take on difficult challenges that require a lot of time investment, require a lot of attention on your part. Kind of fine-tuning your approach to those things so that you can then use that as a springboard to take you into your future, ideally future successes. You hear a lot of stuff often about like the value of college, like is it even worth it anymore? And I often think that like people that are saying these things are people that haven't gone to college and don't really understand it, because even though, yes, it's important to learn a bunch of stuff in your different classes, and ultimately you will focus on something and learn that well, and then have that as your sort of emphasis major, whatever. A lot of what college is like training you to like really push yourself to work ridiculously hard to achieve things that maybe seemingly don't seem achievable to you, or seem like just bigger than you. And kind of making you go through that so that you understand, oh, you are capable of doing these things and much more. You're able to learn things from different disciplines that are maybe completely unrelated. You're able to take on tasks that you've never done before. That is a skill in and of itself, that ability to adapt and just to like kind of throw yourself into things that you're completely ignorant of, and just really master it. That is a super valuable skill that will be a very strong foundation for your future success, regardless of what you end up doing, whether it be going to grad school, going further in any kind of academic path, or just like going out into the world and trying to make it out there. That whole process of like pushing yourself and learning and just throwing your attention in a million different directions will serve as a valuable characteristic that will set you apart from people that don't go to college. If people that don't go to college, there's nothing wrong with those people. They're just deciding not to do this. Do you ultimately wind up being better than those people out in the world? Yes, because you have sat for hours, maybe like whole nights, learning a bunch of random things, pushing yourself, maybe even crying yourselves to sleep, like just being pushed to your limit, um, and so much that it has changed you and made you stronger than they are. And ultimately, with a college degree, it allows you to be very versatile in life. Like you can, at any given point, whatever it is you're doing, say, well, I want to try something else. And then you can take your college degree and go down a different path. Whereas, people that don't go to college, they might dedicate themselves to one thing and they become really good at it, and that's awesome. But what if at some point in their life they decide, I don't want to do this. I'm bored. This is horrible. My life is defined by this one thing. I want to do something else. And then it's very hard for them to like switch paths. It's very hard for them to like say, I'm able to be versatile. I'm able to go from this to this and succeed. And that's something you will have. So there's a lot of value in what you're doing here. Remember that. All right, so this class is a microeconomics course. Economics is the study of making decisions under circumstances where there is scarcity, where there isn't enough to go around. How is the decision made to do one thing versus another? How is the decision made to do a certain amount of something, given that there isn't enough of everything to go around? And so we have very specific models that economists use to kind of like help simplify the world, to take this sort of like understanding of like limited resources and decision making in the face of that to get us to the most optimal place possible. It's a very theoretical course because that's what economists do. They simplify the world to kind of understand like these mechanisms that might help us to optimize like the best use of our limited resources. And so there's a lot of sort of you having to kind of put yourself into this like mindset that's very specific and refined, that's been developed over the course of a few hundred years. And so it requires you to sort of think in a different way, and think about things in ways that you haven't thought about them before. And also, in part, it's almost like a math course as well, where you're just kind of learning technical information and you kind of have to work within that technical information, sort of the language of the discipline. So there is some adapting that needs to be done. And ultimately, a lot of time needs to be invested, because to learn how to think a different way, even just for the purposes of a specific course or a specific approach, like, you have to dedicate yourself to it. Always keeping in mind that it's okay to like always maintain who you are and the way you think, but just acknowledge that there's other ways of thinking about things that are worthwhile and good to know, and that those things can coexist within you. But again, like that, the process of getting to that understanding and the ability to kind of balance those things inside of yourself requires a lot of time. Requires time. It's just going over the material requires time, kind of reflecting on it and just like, okay, this applies to this and it doesn't apply here, and just kind of keeping it all organized in your head. In a course like this, in other courses that are related, that are similar to this course, which are highly technical, that have their own language, etc. Those classes, like repetition is important, so you need to go through the material several times, and so you cannot allow yourself to get behind, because if you get behind, then you don't have the time to go over the material several times, which is the way you succeed in a course like this. How I teach the course, I have spent a lot of time creating slideshows of the chapters that I present, that are very close to the book. So one problem with courses like this is like professors often they'll teach you a bunch of stuff and then you go to the book and it's almost completely different, or like a completely different set of ideas. And that creates a new sort of dimension of challenge to a course like this. I don't like to do that. And so I try to keep things as close as possible with what I'm teaching in the course and what is in the textbook, so that you have sort of a unified experience that allows you, if you're going to be dedicated to the course, to be able to learn this stuff as clearly as possible. So I teach this stuff off of my slideshows, and as you can see, I'm recording. So I'm recording my audio and I'm recording what you see on the screen. So there will be video recordings of every single lecture, and they are all going to be cataloged on Moodle. So you can go back, go over the stuff that I've already covered, go through lectures again, or if you miss a lecture, you can watch it online. Um, and so that is my approach. It's not an approach that's mandated. Like this is not a hybrid course where it's like partly online and partly in class. No, it's an in-class course, but I choose to do this for you because I want you to have flexibility in your approach to learning. I don't think that it's necessary for you to be, forced to learn in one particular way, meaning like you only learn by coming to class. Like that's not what I want the experience to be. But you should come to class. You should make the decision to come to class. Coming to class is not mandatory though for this course. I do not force you to come to class. I allow you to be adults and make the right decisions for yourselves. You should be coming to class. If you don't come to class, you should be watching the lectures as though you are in class. You should sit down and just like block everything out and just like focus on the lecture, take notes exactly as you would in class. It's not something where like I'm going to listen to the lecture as though I'm listening to a podcast. I'm going to do my laundry and do the dishes and hang out with my friends or whatever and just listen to the professor talk. No, you have to be like full attention in the material in order to learn it, or else it's not going to go well for you. But I do provide you that flexibility so that you're not tied to like the schedule of the course, even though you should be coming to the class regularly. And of course, ultimately the whole point of it is like if you miss class, you have the lecture. So you have sort of that safety net. But in the end, of course, you can choose not to come to class. But again, if you're choosing not to come to class, you should still be coming to class by watching the lectures as though you did come to class. How you succeed in the course: keep up with the material and go over the material several times. Take notes in class. While I'm teaching, go back over your notes with the lecture, fill in the gaps. Something's not completely clear, go to the book, fill in the gap. Read the chapter at least once. You have to go through the material a few times to really get this stuff down. So I'm providing you different resources to be able to do that. And so it's going to be in your hands. I've never had any complaints about clarity. I do present everything very clearly, so the people that are invested in the course, interested in doing well in the course, they wind up doing so because everything is clearly presented. You won't have any section where you're just like unclear about what the theory means or how it works. It's like, no, it's there. It's clear. So I do my job. I've had very positive feedback from those that are invested in learning and engage in the courses. So my job will be done. It's your job, the learning part, the hours of studying outside of class that you need to make sure you're taking care of in order to succeed. If you're doing that, everything's going to work out. All right, let's go over the syllabus. If there are any questions, of course, you're free to ask at any point, but I should be able to cover everything. So don't jump to ask questions about something I'm not talking about because I likely already covered it. All right, so everybody should have a syllabus. If you don't have a syllabus, their syllabus is on Moodle, so don't worry about it. But I'll basically cover the entire thing in my slides right now, so you should have all the information you need, at least as a first pass. All right, just basic minutia stuff. I've got an office in this building, 4th floor, 4243. There's a phone number that they've given me, but without a voicemail, so I don't know why I have a phone number, but you can call it if you want. All right, I've got office hours. So Tuesdays from 10:45 to 12, I am in my office, and then from 5 to 6:30 also, and then Thursdays from 10:45 to 12. So Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10:45 to 12, I'm available in my office, and then also that hour and a half on Tuesday afternoons. An important thing about office hours are for you to come talk to me about things you need to talk to me about. Office hours are not for me to re-lecture material to you. So just keep that in mind. People often think that they're just going to, people have come to me in the past and asked me basically to completely cover material that I've covered in class. Well, you know what? I've chosen to have the approach of recording all my lectures. So if you're doing the right thing, meaning you're either coming to class or learning the lectures on your own, then you've got notes and you know exactly where the subjects are, and you know that you can easily find them on Moodle and just go to the part that I talked about it and have it recovered for you. So Don't come to my office asking me to re-explain material that I've explained in class, because I'm not going to do that. I will, of course, be in class, though. I'm in class 2.5 hours a week. I am here. Come to class. As I'm presenting the material, ask me questions. At the end of the class, you still have something that's unclear, come up, ask me. I'll answer. You know, that's what I'm here for. Office hours are like, you need to talk to me because, your mom's sick and blah, 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 and you need this and that. Okay, let's talk. Or things aren't going too well in school. You want some advice on approach or whatever. Let's talk. We're only mandated to give you an hour of per class of office hours, but I'm teaching 4 classes. I have 4 hours that I offer in office hours, so I offer it to all of you just for flexibility. But again, it's not for you to come and say, hey, explain all of chapter 2 to me again. That's not the case. And part of that approach also is to really just drive home the fact that you need to understand that from this point forward in your lives, you have to take it upon yourself to make sure that you are able to do everything you can to get the challenges that you take on accomplished. If you are of the mindset where you are dependent on other people and always looking for outside sources to help you get through things, I mean, that's all fine and good here, but out there, no. The businesses, the places that you want to work, the jobs that you want, the opportunities that you want, they want self-starters. They want people that are self-sufficient. They don't want burdens. They want people that are going to go in there and just enhance the experience. They don't want people that are going to pull them down. So if you are of the mindset that you are not able to get through difficult situations on your own, then you need to change that mindset. I'm a firm believer that unless there's something physically wrong with your brain, then you are 1,000% capable of doing the greatest things that people have ever done in history that require intellectual ability. So if you believe for whatever reason that you are not good enough to conquer a class like this, a difficult math class, a difficult science class, you're wrong. You are. You're so smart, though, that you are using your powerful brain against yourself. That part of you that is thinking, I can't do this, I am incapable of doing this, is a part of your brain that you could be using to actually learn, but you're using that power against yourself. So you're using your mind against yourself. Don't believe all that crap. If you, in any way, at some point in your life, actually started to believe that you are incapable of doing A, B, or C, you got to get that out of your head. And you have to just realize, okay, if I haven't gotten this thing the first time, I need to go through it again. Didn't get it the second time? Again. Hit it until you get it. And then you're like, okay, I can get this. And then you go on to the next thing. It takes a lot of time, folks. And that's where the problem comes in. You're not putting in enough time initially. And then, when an exam comes around, you're putting in what? A few hours to learn weeks worth of material, and you can't get it, you do bad, and then you're like, God, I'm just not good at this class. I'm not good at this stuff. And that's not true, folks. That's BS, ultimately. You need to understand, success is a function of how much time you put into it. And if it takes you longer to do something than somebody else, that means that somebody else has some sort of advantage. They learned stuff at some point in their lives that helped them in the present, or they have less stuff going through their heads affecting their ability to focus than you do. Maybe you have a lot of other things going on in your life that they don't, and so they're able to get it quicker than you are. But it doesn't mean you're not able to get it. It means that you need to sit down and just commit to getting it. Commit to 8 hours, 12 hours, 12 days, whatever, to get it. And if you're not doing that, don't let this belief that you're not good enough define you. You have to come to terms with the fact, okay, I did not put in enough time to get this done the right way. I'm good enough, and next time I will do it. And then you do it, and you prove it to yourself, and then you advance. So don't depend on other people. Don't depend on me to re-lecture stuff. There is tutoring for this class, but I would say don't depend on that either. You can. It's going to be available. It's in the business school. You can look it up. It'll be there. But it's you, folks. You need to say, I am going to spend hours and hours and hours, if I have to get this thing. And once you get it, you'll realize I can do anything. And then you start doing things, and it's really exciting. All right. There's a textbook, Krugman and Wells, Microeconomics, 4th edition. There's also a homework system. It's on Launchpad. There's an access code that you can use as a standalone. You can buy as a standalone item, or you can buy it bundled with the textbook. To register for the homework system, you're going to click on the live link on the syllabus. So the syllabus, the digital version, is on Moodle, and there's a link on there. So you're going to click this link, and it's going to take you to this page. You may already have used Launchpad in a prior class, so you would just log in here, and then it'll take you to the place that you need to go. Or here if you've never used the system, you will enter your access code if you've already purchased it. If not, you can purchase an access code online, or you can pay later. There is a grace period. So if you purchase Launchpad Access, it costs $84.99. So if you buy it just on the digital system, it's $84.99. It includes the homework system and the digital book. So you don't have to go and buy the hard copy book. I do recommend you buy the hard copy book because it's good to have a hard copy book. A hard copy book is a good thing to study from because you're not connected to a web. You're not getting notifications of this, that, and the other. You can't open up a browser and start looking at other stuff. No, it's a book. Like, you're just reading the book. But if you choose not to buy the book, that's fine. That's your choice. You should have access to the book one way or another, though. So you can, again, buy just the homework system and the digital book by going through the link on the syllabus. Let's say you do want a hard copy, you want to save some money, do this, and also want a hard copy, you can find a used version online. Even if you get like a prior edition, it's pretty close to what we're learning. Just make sure it's the right chapter that you're covering. There's a website, it's called abebooks.com. They sell international editions that are cheaper than the domestic editions. I think it's illegal to sell them in the US, but they sell them. So, if you're looking for a cheap version, they have cheap versions there. Amazon, you can look up used versions. You can find used books if you want a hard copy book and not spend the ridiculous amounts that the publisher charges. But if you do buy the book from the bookstore, the one benefit you have is that you can resell it at the end of the semester and get some money back. So there's that. Okay, so again, this provides you access to the online homework system and the digital textbook. The third option is to access the online system for free for the 21-day free trial period. When the trial period is over, you'll need to re-register and purchase access using the same username and password. So you'll get a reminder email sent to you 7 days before it expires, and you'll have a reminder at the top of the page of how many days you have left on your free trial. So I'm going to go through a lot of this system stuff in fine detail. And again, I'm recording this, so you don't need to get it all down now. You can reference it again. This will be posted on Moodle later today. I'll email you and let you know when it's posted. So you'll enter when you're going to finally register after the expired free trial ends, you'll enter your same first name, last name, same email, and password that you use for the free trial access to ensure that your work and grades remain associated with your account. So again, those people that aren't in the class and trying to get into the class, then you can start doing things for free without having to pay for anything in case you don't wind up being able to get into the course. If you have any kind of technical issues with Launchpad at any point throughout the semester, don't contact me. I'm not technical support for Launchpad. You're paying money to Launchpad. They're a rich company. They have people working, doing technical support. Contact them. There's a technical support button at the bottom of the page on Launchpad. You can either fill out the form if the issue is not pressing, or you can call them. There's a phone number. How do my students get in touch with tech support? They have very flexible hours and a phone number there. The phone number is here. I also have it on Moodle. All right, reading, lecture slides, attendance. So again, attendance is not mandatory. It's a good idea to read the sections covered in class before the corresponding lecture, just to sort of whet your understanding of the ideas before I present them to you in class. Again, my slides are based on the book and will be made available after each lecture on Moodle. So On Moodle, I'll post, again, the video with my audio and what you see on the screen, and I'll post a PDF of my slides, and I'll post a slideshow file of my slides. So if you don't want to listen to me and you just want to look at the slides, use those files, whatever. There's a lot of resources for you to go through my material. Again, I don't post slides before lectures because I am a firm believer that you should be taking notes in class, taking thorough notes. I was motor riding Mike when I was taking notes in college and grad school. I would just like write as much as I could, and then eventually, kind of clean it all up and get it to a point where it helped me to get the A's that I got. So you should be taking notes. You shouldn't depend on like things that you've printed out and maybe writing. No, you should be, because when you're writing stuff down, that's your version of what you're listening to. That's you processing the information. That's you starting the learning process. It's a good thing for you to be engaged in the material while you're in class. The slides are going to be the primary information source for the course, and the textbook is supplementary to them. So focus on the material that I present in class. The book is meant to sort of support your understanding of what's presented, but like the main source of information is my slides. Exams. Yes, it is a class. We are in college. Unfortunately, I have to test you. So there are going to be 2 midterm exams and a final exam. The exam dates are listed in the lecture schedule. I'll go over that by the end of today. But it's also at the end of the syllabus. You'll need to purchase your own Scantron for the exams. Form 882-E, it's the skinny green Scantron forms. You'll need 3 of them for the 3 exams. Makeup exams will not be given. I do not give makeup exams. Students will only be excused from midterm 1 or midterm 2 at my very precise discretion. Legitimate reasons include only medical emergencies. So it has to be a medical emergency. Like you were in a car accident and you've been rushed to the hospital. You're not breathing. You've been rushed to the hospital. You've been rushed to the hospital is a constant in a medical emergency. That should be part of it. Last semester, a student brought me a note from his chiropractor. I had a chiropractor appointment. I couldn't make the exam. No, you failed the exam. That was it. I do that all the time. I turn down these silly excuses all the time. Do not play games with me. Do not play games with this course. I set up the course to be very flexible. Like I said, everything's recorded. You don't have to come to class. You should come to class. You should come to every single class. But you don't have to, because I record the lectures for you. I catalog them for you. They're available to you. You have to come to class 3 days. Midterm 1, midterm 2, the final. Have to. No excuses. Unless, you were rushed to the hospital. Again, to excuse you, a physician must document your illness. And I need to be able to verify that. So I need to be able to call the physician to make sure that it's legit. I will do that. So going to the doctor because you feel sick is not a medical emergency. I'm going to the emergency room because I have a cough. Not a medical emergency. So just keep that in mind. I have gone to exams under the worst conditions. The 3,005 years that I went to school, I didn't miss one exam, folks. You don't miss exams. You go to exams, no matter what. Jury duty is not an excuse. You can postpone jury duty. If you miss an exam and it is excused, you actually did have a legitimate reason, then the final will absorb the credit for the missed exam. I won't give you a makeup exam. The final must be taken in order to pass the course and will only be rescheduled for major illness or other well-documented emergencies. All right, so there is homework. There will be mostly weekly homework assignments using the Launchpad interface. Once you log in, to access the assignments, you click on the Enter Your Course button, which is right here. And that'll take you to the assignments. It'll look something like this. There'll be an assignment per chapter that we cover. There are multiple choice questions, about 20 per assignment, with a couple of graphing questions at the end. Homework will be due Sunday nights at 11:59 p.m. I'll drop your 3 lowest homework scores. So that is meant to help you sort of with flexibility in case things happen in your life that stop you from doing the homework. So don't decide throughout the semester, I'm just not going to do homeworks. Because if you run out of those three, then it's going to start to hurt your grade. There will be no late assignments accepted. So the 3 homework drops are meant to create flexibility for that. Yes. Oh, that was for a different course. I didn't change that. I forgot to change that. But yeah, it's Sunday nights. Is that what you guys were asking about? Okay. No quizzes. All right. So another thing about the homework is I have given you the solutions to the homework. So I have videos on Moodle for each chapter. There's a video for each problem explaining what the answer to the problem is and why that's the answer. I'm not one that's like, I'm going to put them in a situation where they need to like pull their hairs out trying to figure things out. I don't want that. Either you're someone that is interested in doing well in the course or you're not. So if you're interested in doing well in the course, you've got my lectures, you've got the homework solutions. You need to do the homework in order for me to know that you're doing something. But ultimately, like, it's in your hands to really get this information down. I don't want to put you in a situation where I'm creating new challenges for you on top of what the course already is, which is a huge challenge. So you have the solutions. You can easily just go through and just mark the solutions off. If you're doing that, yeah, you're going to get credit for the homework, but it's going to hurt your ability to understand things, which will hurt your ability to do well on the exams, which is what defines your grade in this class. Everything else, the homework, whatever ancillary things there are outside of your actual exam grades, they're just to support your grade, but they will not define your grade. So if you do terribly on exams, you will fail the class. So make sure you do well on the exams by learning the material and not taking shortcuts. Shortcuts are a path to failure in this world. Even though you might get away with something here and there, eventually it will come to a head and it will take you down. So it's just not a good approach ever to like try to find shortcuts and take advantage of them to try to get around things, because in the end, to get to the places that you want to get to, like, you need to demonstrate that you are able to do things, that you are able to understand things, that you are able to excel, and you only are able to do that by putting yourself at 120% into whatever it is that you're doing at this point until the end of your life. So just keep that in mind. All right, so the course grade, there's 3 exams, as I said, and they're each going to be worth 25% of the total. Homework will be worth 10% of your grade. And then I've got a special component. It's not participation, it's communication. It'll make up 10% of your grade. Your highest test score of the 3 exams will add an extra 5% to your grade. So that'll give you a little bit more flexibility. So overall, your exams are worth 80% of your grade. Letter grades will correspond approximately to the following ranges, even though it winds up actually being a little bit more comfortable as far as like being able to pass. But the A's and B's, if you want an A or B, you have to earn those A's and B's. I do not give out A's and B's. You have to be getting A's and B's on the exams in order to get A's and B's in this class. I'm not one to fail a lot of people, but I will fail some people. The class is ultimately going to be curved unless everybody gets A's and B's on the exams. There winds up being curves on the exams, which means that I target a C average, and then people that are below C's generally get bumped up. It's not something to depend on, though, because you never know. You never know how other people are going to do. It's all about how you do relative to everybody else. So if you depend on the curve and you try to just kind of make it, you might wind up below the middle, and then that'll put you in the D or F category, and that will not be good news for you. I don't want that to happen. I don't like giving out D's and F's, but it's the nature of the course. Unless everybody's getting A's and B's throughout the semester, which I hope happens. Hasn't happened yet, but maybe you're the class, and I look forward to you demonstrating whether or not that's the case. All right, so this communication policy thing, it's my own thing. You won't see it with other professors. Communication is the most important skill you will need to cultivate here in order to be successful once you earn your degree. You have grown up, the majority of you have grown up in a world where communication is very accessible. Electronic communication is very accessible. And so I love like what has happened as far as like everybody kind of creating like their own ways of like casually communicating with each other, you know, with acronyms and like weird like broken sentences and emojis and whatnot. I have no problem with all that in your personal life. In a professional world, that doesn't fly. You need to be able to kind of switch from like, I'm communicating with my friends, family, and whomever, to I'm communicating with my boss and my coworkers. When you're communicating in a professional area, in that setting, you need to be very formal about it. Things need to be very clear. You need to use full sentences. You need to write as though you're writing a paper whenever you're explaining things. You need to be very clear, precise. So that's partly what my communication policy is about. It's meant to help prepare you for professional communication standards that you'll be expected to adapt to in a variety of professional settings. So electronic communication with me in this class will be done exclusively through a message board. It's called Piazza. So you will never email me. Do not ever send me a direct email. That will be bad. I get emailed every time you post something on Piazza. So if you post something on Piazza, it's like emailing me. You can post questions there which can be answered by your fellow students as well as myself. It also provides you the option to post anonymously to your fellow students, but just know that posting anonymously is transparent to me. I know who you are, so you can't just insult people. If you have a personal issue you want to discuss with me, so if you have a personal matter you need to discuss, then what you do is you post an anonymous request on Piazza and say, Professor, I've got a medical issue, I've got this, that, whatever I need to discuss with you. I will respond to you and say, yes, this is appropriate for you to send me a direct email, and then we will email each other about it. That's the only situation that I will allow for an email, when I tell you to email me. Otherwise, anonymously post on Piazza. If you're not comfortable posting information that's personal, don't get too personal about it. Be very general, and you're posting anonymously so nobody knows who you are. It's fine. It will be enough for me to know, okay, this person does need to email me directly. I'm dealing with hundreds of people. I can't have my email just inundated with like random questions about a problem here or a test date here. Like it doesn't work. So this message board is something that was used at like the Ivy Leagues, and like Berkeley started using it, and it's meant specifically for academic interactions. And I used it when I TA'd, when I was a teacher's assistant for a professor who was using it. It worked out well for him. I started using it myself. It's worked out great for me. You're free to discuss personal issues with me also in person during my office hours. So if you have something personal that you want to talk about, you can come talk to me in person in my office, which is what office hours are for. So just a quick rundown of this Piazza thing. This is the main screen. It's just a standard message board. You've got some tabs up here: Q&A, resources, statistics, and manage class. We're only using the Q&A tab, so that's the only one we're using. Below that is like some folders here. So like you've got the homework folders, you've got midterm 1, midterm 2. They're just ways of like filtering through the posts. So if you have a question about midterm 1, you can just click like midterm 1 there and see if somebody else has asked the question. If they haven't, you can ask it. Below the folders are more filtering options: updated, unread. There's a cog here that also gives you more filtering options. There's a search bar here if you just want to do a search for a particular question that you might have. And to post a new post, you just click that new post button there. You get this interface here. You put your message in a particular folder. It's about homework 1. It's about exam 1, or maybe it's about something else that has to do with running of the class. That goes under logistics. Or you can't find a category, it goes under other. The column to the left catalogs all the posts. You can just scroll down to see if there's something there that you are interested in, or maybe will maybe mirror a concern that you have. If you scroll down, so if you click on that, you'll get the message on the right. And if you scroll down, you have the ability to respond. So again, you can respond to other people's questions as well. You can answer their questions, and then I can go back and endorse your answer or not. You don't have to do anything. You just have to follow my communication policy, but you don't have to do anything. Like, you don't have to post on a regular basis, etc. If you're helping other people, though, that might shine a positive light on you in the end when I'm factoring your final grade, but it won't necessarily do that either. Like, who knows? But again, like, it's about communication. It's not about participation. Again, I also have an option to post my official instructor answer, so I'll answer questions if necessary. Anyone has the ability to respond to any post, and I have the option to endorse. I already said that. So the link to register for Piazza is located in the syllabus. So again, if you go, I think it's like on the third page. If you go to the digital syllabus on Moodle, the link will be there. So you just click on it. You can't register on a phone though, so make sure you do it on a computer. But there is an app for Piazza if you want it. So you have to register on a personal computer. Once you click on the link, you'll be taken to the registration page where the process will be self-explanatory to register. All right, so the overall communication grade, which is 10% of your grade, will be based on a few factors. One, register for Piazza. So if you haven't registered on Piazza by the end of the third week, you're going to lose half your communication grade. So the sooner the better. Just register, be on there so you're there. I need you to be on there. Whether you're using it or not, you have to be registered by the end of the third week. I will remind you, of course, but there's always some people at the end of the semester that haven't registered and lose half the communication grade, which is silly. Like, it's such an easy thing to do. Posting professionally on Piazza. Again, like, you're not talking to your friends, you're not texting. Like, you're in a classroom is a professional environment, so you should be communicating with each other very clearly. Each post should pertain to only one question. So you're doing the homework, and even though I have the solutions, like, you have questions about, question 3, question 5. Start different posts for that, so that if somebody has a question about just question 3, they can just find that information versus like having to look through 3 and 5 and whatever else you've included on there. So if you have multiple questions, post multiple posts. Each post should be labeled correctly in the title as well as the folder you categorize it in. The title is basically where everything should be. It's like, it should be very clear exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about a question on the homework. Which homework is it? Oh, homework 3. Okay, I know which homework he's talking about. Which question? Question 4. Okay, it's very clear now. What's the question? You have a question about how the communication grade works. That's what you're looking for. So that's your title. How does the communication grade work? You put down the logistics folder. I have a question about the second exam. What about the second exam? Exam 2, question 3. Okay, that's what this person's talking about. Be very specific. There's some more examples there. If you can't find a relevant folder, there's one, again, a category for other. Before you post a question, make sure it has not already been asked. If your question has been asked and the answer does not cover your issue, then post a follow-up on the same thread. We don't want 30 posts about the same problem. Like, post a follow-up. It wasn't clear, the answer. I have this other issue related to the same question. Here's my question. Questions and answers on Piazza should be limited to the topics in any particular thread. Again, you should directly email me only when I instruct you to. If you email me a question that should be on Piazza, I will respond to it. I will respond to it. I will tell you that you should post it on Piazza and that your communication grade has gone down by a point. So just keep that in mind. Post only professional comments. If you post personal feelings about things, I hate my professor, I hate this class, I hate the exam, that's just not professional. It's okay for you to have those feelings. This is not an easy class. You might wind up hating me by the end. Hey, I teach difficult courses. It's the nature of what I teach. But people wind up taking it personally sometimes and like putting it on me. So be it. You don't need to express those feelings to me or the rest of your classmates in a public forum that's meant to just relay important information about the class. Post it on your personal social media. Talk to your friends about it, whatever, just not in this class. The board is for relaying important information about the class. If you want to have a discussion about your opinions of the class, just do it in social media or with your friends. Another thing, every time we meet, I'll send you an email once I've posted all the lecture files saying, hey, I posted the lecture files, and here's a reminder of this, that, or the other that's important. Don't respond to those. People sometimes will respond to them and just respond about completely unrelated things. It's ridiculous. Let's keep things very organized, because I'm dealing with a lot of people on top of trying to get other stuff done in my life, research, etc., trying to move forward in my professional life beyond just teaching. And I just don't have time to hold your hand through these things. You need to step it up. You need to be adult about the way you approach this course and all your courses and everything you do from this point forward, because high school's over, folks. You're adults now. All right, so don't respond to my my Moodle post. It's the same as emailing me. Keep up with all the information that I relay to you. So at the beginning of every class, I'll I'll ask, are there any questions? It's a good time to ask me questions then. I'll also go through, okay, the next exam's coming up here and there. Talk about whatever issues that are important to the class. I'll address it at the beginning of the class. And again, I will also put some of that information in the daily emails that I send at the end of each lecture. Even if you're not coming to class on a regular basis, please keep up with that information. If you're not keeping up with that information, you're basically saying that my time is not as important as your time. Your time is all that's important, and you want your information when it's convenient to you. And that's just not cool. It's not okay. You're taking time away from me and other people. You should be taking the time to figure things out. You should be keeping up with the information in the course, keeping up with my emails, keeping up with the lectures. If you're not doing that, you're doing something wrong, and it's going to hurt your grade. So again, read all my emails from Moodle. Be current on the information announced in class. If you have a question about how the class is run, the first place you want to check is the syllabus. The syllabus will have the information. If the answer is not there, the second place you should check is the news forum on Moodle. So all my emails are cataloged on Moodle in this news forum, of which there's a link at the top of the Moodle page. So once you click on that, you'll see like all my emails, the dates, and the topics, and you just like click on them and just read through them, catch up on whatever you need. If the information is not in there, then ask a question on Piazza. But like generally, if you have a question, the answer is available to you somewhere in the resources I provided. Find it. Put in the legwork. Do it. If you don't find your answer on the news forum, go to Piazza and search for the question. If your question has not been answered, then post a new question. If you have questions about the material, do a search for a similar question on Piazza, and if it has not been answered, post a new question. All right, so I've got a bunch of resources on Moodle. At the top of our class page, there are links to the syllabus, the Piazza message board, and our Launchpad homework system, as well as a news forum. So you're thinking, oh, there's all these different things that he wants me to do. It's all in one place. So if you just open up Moodle, there's links to everything you need. These are not the links to register, though. Those are the links in the syllabus, so make sure you use those to register. But beyond that, once the class is going, like you just open up Moodle anytime you're working on this course, and all the links to all the resources you need, Piazza to ask questions, Launchpad to do your homework, news forum to catch up on emails, and my syllabus to just fine-tune your understanding of how things work in the class is all at the top, very easily accessible. Below that are instructional videos covering things like Launchpad, Piazza, and the communication policy. So again, this is being recorded today, so everything I've said to you is going to be on that first lecture video. You can find the information there. You can also find the information in some of these individual videos that I created for you in case you don't want to search for information on the first lecture about stuff. There's videos on registering for Launchpad, where to find your homework and homework policies video, Launchpad help topics, Launchpad customer service numbers there, registering for Piazza, how Piazza works, how to post correctly on Piazza, and the communication policy, all little segment videos to help you sort of just get that information you need quickly. Again, the syllabus usually has everything, but these will help you as well if you need it. Exam files. So I have practice exams for the first, second, and third exam. So that'll give you a sample of like the kind of way that I'm going to be testing you. Exams all have the same structure, 15 multiple choice and 4 open answer questions. So start checking them out as early as possible when we start a segment of the semester, just so you have an idea of what you're heading to, and like the kind of things that I'm going to be interested in you actually learning from the material that I will be testing you on, even though I'll be emphasizing that as I go through the lectures. As the semester unfolds, the lecture files will be posted as I conclude them in the calendar portion of the Moodle pages below the top section. So if you scroll down, there's a calendar section. Under each week's heading, you'll see the lecture files for that week, the videos, the slideshow, the PDF, etc. As far as what we are going to cover, so the first 6 weeks we're going to cover 8 chapters. So that's the first part of the course. The first part of the course is going to have a lot of material covered, and that's because it is assumed that you've covered some of this stuff before in like your high school economics course. So like supply and demand, that kind of stuff is the cornerstone of what we learn this first part of the semester. Stuff that you've had one pass on at some point in your life. I understand that you may not know it. Of course, I'm going to teach it to you in fine detail, but There's going to be a good amount of information covered in the first part of the course, 8 chapters worth. Don't fall behind. It's not as bad as it seems. A lot of these chapters cover basically different topics of the same material, things that you would find in maybe like 2 to 3 chapters in like a more advanced book. And so it's not as bad as it seems, but you have to keep up with it. You can't leave it till the end. If you're like trying to study for this first midterm without having done anything the week before the exam, it's going to put you in a bind and you're going to feel like it's impossible. Don't let that happen. Today is the first day of school. Make sure that you're spending the right amount of time today moving forward to get everything down on a daily basis. Don't fall behind so that when you hit the exams, it's manageable. There are going to be 6 homework assignments in the first 6 weeks covering 8 chapters. And then we'll have the first midterm on March the 7th. And that's also in the syllabus. And then the second part of the course covers 4 chapters. The reason why it becomes smaller as far as like what we cover is because the material starts to get more foreign. The models that we cover are things that are very specific to economic theory that you've never been exposed to before. And so, you know, it's like they're their own unique sort of challenge animal that you need to kind of conquer. And so I've tried to like segment them in a way that it is manageable for you, and it's generally the approach in these kind of courses. So again, that second part of the course, 4 homework assignments, and then we'll have a second midterm on. That's not the correct day. I thought I changed that. We'll have a second midterm sometime in April, whatever it says in the syllabus. Don't worry, everything will be fine as far as like when things are due, the due dates, all that. I'm going to keep reminding you of stuff as we move forward, so there will be no confusion. And then finally, 5 chapters covered the last part of the course. 4 homework assignments as well, and then we have a final exam on Thursday, the 18th of May. And that will cover the material. Yes. The final will not be cumulative because the course kind of builds upon itself. And the last 5 chapters are enough of a challenge where I wouldn't want you to not focus enough on them and try to like backtrack and learn everything you've covered. So yeah, I don't make the finals cumulative, but they are challenging, so don't underestimate them. Other questions? All right, so again, we're going to start the material on Thursday. Take the class seriously, okay? Like, it's a challenging course. Even when I took it at USC, we had a curve, and it was a generous curve because this class is hard no matter where you take it. And it's hard, the word hard just reflects the fact that it requires a lot of time to get it down. So don't feel discouraged at any point if like you falter a bit, because it's the nature of a course like this to challenge you very, very sort of on a high level. But it doesn't mean none of you are incapable of doing really well on it. Put yourselves completely into it and things will work out. If you're not registered for the course and you are on the waiting list or not on the waiting list, you need to sign in. Everybody else, have a good couple of days. I will see you on Thursday.